All right, kindergartners, we're going to start making line monsters today. They're going to be cute little monsters that are covered in lines. And we're going to use something called a paint stick. When you use a paint stick, you want it to be pushed up just a little bit, kind of like a glue stick. We're going to start on this dot because a line is just a dot that went for a walk, and we're going to make a line. This kind of line is called a straight line. Now I'm going to move down and I'm going to make a zigzag line. Zigzag lines go up, then down. Now I'm going to make a wavy line. Wavy lines have a curve to them. Now I'm going to make a dotted line. This is just practice because I'm going to be working on my good paper soon. Now I'm going to try a spiral line. I loop and loop and loop and loop around like that. The last two I'm going to let you pick. It can be a crazy line like zigzag, wavy, swirly, swirly, zigzag, zigzag. Or maybe dot, dot, dot. All different types of lines. Now I'm going to move to my good paper and I'm going to make lines that go all the way across my paper. A straight line, I'm looking at my worksheet to remind myself how to make the different types of lines. Zigzag, wavy. I think I want to skip the dotted line and do this spiral line. All right, now I have all different types of lines on my paper. Now I'm going to be using a kind of paint called tempera cakes. When you use tempera cakes, when you first get them, they're hard. So you need to wake them up with paint. So you dip your paintbrush in the water and you wake up the paint by kind of swirling on the cake. Now this cake is not a delicious cake. This is a colorful cake. So now I have some red paint on my paintbrush. I made a little puddle and I'm going to paint one of the areas with the color red. So I'm going to choose the area above that straight line I made. I'm moving my brush back and forth until it gets thirsty. You can tell your paintbrush is thirsty when it looks scratchy. That means your paintbrush needs water. So I'm going to dip it into the water and back onto the red. Now when I'm painting, I always remember that my paintbrush is a ballerina. Ballerinas dance on their tiptoes. So when I paint, I'm gonna hold my paper to the side. This is very silly, but you can see it's the tiptoes of my paintbrush touching the paper. I'm not scrubbing or scraping. So my paintbrush is like a ballerina. Ballerinas always dance on their tiptoes. They never, ever scoot around on their bottoms because nobody wants to go to the booty scooting ballet. So keep your paintbrush on its tiptoes. Now I'm ready to switch colors. Whenever I switch colors with paint, I rinse my paintbrush. That means I just swirl a little in the water and then I choose my next color. I'm choosing orange, so I have to wake it up. I wake it up by adding water and gently stirring. I'm never stabbing or scraping. I'm just gently stirring on that cake. Then I'm remembering that my paintbrush is a ballerina. All right, my paintbrush is starting to look thirsty. I think I want to switch colors here, so I'm going to rinse my paintbrush and get a new color. When I'm painting, I only paint an area one time, so I'm not going to take and go back over where I already painted. I'm looking for white areas to add paint, and whenever my paintbrush gets thirsty, I go back in the water. Whenever I change to a new color, I have to clean my paintbrush, give them a biffy bath right there in the water. And I'm going to keep working like that until my paper is full of color. I will have painted every area one time. All right, friends, today we're going to assemble our line monsters. We're going to take the line painting that we made last week and we're going to flip it over. And then I'm going to use glue to trace around. Now when we art, we usually use glue in a cup like this. So I take the brush and I dip it. Now you'll notice that this is really drippy right now. So I'm just gonna wipe it on the side and now it's not drippy and I can move around. I'm going to trace around the outside edge of my painting. So I'm dipping, wiping on the side, then tracing. Dip, wipe, trace around the edge. I don't need to have any big globs of glue. This should be nice and neat. Around the edges, dip, wipe. If you want, you can put a little X in the middle, but really that's all the glue you need. And it's kind of hard to see because I am using white glue, but you can see where the light is hitting it. Now I'm gonna take my monster, or what's going to be a monster and not a spooky one, and I'm gonna glue him or her to the paper. Now I have different shaped objects that I can use to assemble. So I can add eyes. I think I would like to add a white eye. I'm tracing around the edge and I'm gonna stick it down. Now since monsters aren't real, you can add as many or as few eyes as you like. I think it would be silly to have 3. Now I'm going to take some of these black circles and I'm gonna put them inside there to make it look like eyes. And this one I'm gonna make a silly eye. It has 2. All right. Now I'm gonna make my monster's mouth. I'm gonna use this semicircle. Now if you want yours to be happy, you put it this way. If you want yours to look like he's sad or mad or maybe making a silly screaming face, you do it like this. You could even do 2 mouths if you want. A happy and a sad, one above, one on top. It's really your choice. I'm gonna trace around and stick down. I'm gonna do mine happy but a little bit kicked to the side. Now I'm gonna give him some teeth with these triangles. There's the big tooth. You can also use these triangles for other things. Maybe my monster has bows in her hair, so I'm gonna use them like this. Maybe there are horns on the monster's head. Maybe they're his nose. Maybe he has horns and a bow right there. I don't know, it's really your choice. So again, I'm just lifting up, adding glue, and sticking. And when you're done, you're gonna have a super silly monster that shows you all about lines. Now, after I'm finished gluing, I always like to flip my paper to the back and give it a back rub. Just like this. It helps your glue stick, and also your paper loves getting a back rub. All right, now mine is finished. I may wash my hands if they got dirty, but sometimes when I use glue, I just go like this and kind of peel the glue off my fingers, and they're good to go. So great job, kindergartners. I cannot wait to see your silly, wild line monsters.